This is an anonymous dream analysis. It's from our dream analysis document, the anonymous submission form. I had a dream that I was in the ocean when suddenly I was pulled under the ocean and consumed by a bright light. I've had this dream several times now, and every time it scares me to the point I can't sleep for the rest of the night. What? Okay, couple things. I was about to say, oh, you probably had this dream right before you woke up for the day. But this was in the middle of the night. Here's why I say this. The feeling of floating in the ocean, or floating in space, or floating in the air, is sometimes the feeling, or people have typically pointed out this feeling right before they wake up. And it's like, I see it as the dreamer is like their body is waking up, but their mind isn't all the way, right? You don't think it's in the Discord? Okay. It was submitted back in May, so I'm really sorry for not doing it until now. But anyway, when you're feeling like that, it's usually it's about time for your body to wake up, or something in your sleeping environment or about your body is starting to wake you up, and you have this like floating feeling. But you had this suddenly like pulled under the ocean and consumed by a bright light. And I assume that the bright light happens and then it wakes you up. I think that although it's a fear, and the fear you don't want to sleep, I think that the, how do I say, like, you were about to wake up anyway. Something was going on with your body that you weren't staying asleep. Something woke you up, and it wasn't the dream. What woke you up was the same thing that caused this to happen. I theorize, or from my experience in analyzing dreams for the past few years and studying them for more than 15, 20. So, if you see a bright light, imagine like squinting your eyes hard or pushing on your eyes. Not every time, but sometimes you see like a flash. Sometimes that can be like low oxygen. It can be like an exertion. And it could be that you stop breathing. And here's another thing that adds to it. You're being pulled under. What's one thing you can't do normally when you're underwater? You can't breathe. And if, for whatever's happening, you're sleeping a certain kind of way, cuts off the airflow, you stop breathing. That's sleep apnea. I'm not a doctor, and I don't pretend to give medical advice, so I would say talk to your doctor about sleep apnea. Or you could even start looking up online, what are some ways that I can keep my airways open when I'm sleeping? I don't think that this dream is like a symbolic, like, oh, I'm being pulled under by a force in my life where my crush wants to put. No, I don't think it's anything like that. I think this is something you can solve. I think you can't sleep because you're scared, and you're scared because you can't breathe, and you can't breathe. It causes this to happen, causes you to wake up, causes you to be afraid and stay up. It's like a cycle, right? I would look into that. Look into your sleeping environment. How are you sleeping? Are you sleeping on your back? Now, for me, it's not for everyone, but for me, I snore like a freaking walrus. I snore like a walrus if I sleep on my back. And so, lay on my side, I get better airways. Where how you put the pillow and all that stuff. Like for me, I've gained a lot of weight, and that contributes to a lot of extra everything in the whole like airway area. Sinal, nasal, or sinus congestion, allergies, these kind of things can do it. So yeah, look into keeping your airways open. That's what I would say. Thank you for submitting this. Appreciate you. Ending at 023000. 2 hours, 30 minutes, 0 seconds. Not ghosts in your blood. Nope, it's not that. Probably not that. But that's just a theory. From Sunny. I was laying in the clouds, and they were the softest clouds I ever felt. I couldn't see the ground, and there was no moon or stars, but there was a lamp next to me. Strange, but comfortable. The light drawing my focus. Then the clouds started to become stormy, and lightning bolt struck my lamp, causing it to shatter and fall, leaving me in the dark with ear-piercing thunder. Scared. I don't know why I had the dream, but I woke up because I suddenly felt like I was falling. Leonard, hello. Alright, let me drink some water because, oh my god. Turn on the background. Okay, the feeling of falling is one of the feelings you get right before you wake up. Floating, like in the ocean, floating in the clouds, falling. These are the feelings you typically feel right before you wake up. So hang on. Can't find it. Well, no problem. It's new, so I put the time on there. No problem. You felt safe. You couldn't see the ground. No moon. It is nighttime. But there was a lamp next to me. The clouds started to become stormy. So at first it was peaceful, then stormy, and then a lightning bolt struck my lamp, causing it to shatter and fall, leaving me in the dark in the ear-piercing thunder. I wonder if something happened in your sleeping environment that made that crack sound, which then manifested as a lightning bolt striking the lamp. The falling, and then waking up. I wonder if that's what happened. Or I wonder if it was symbolic. If it's symbolic, then it could be something like the feeling of distrust. The feeling of distrust of you think you're safe, but something like at the drop of a hat, everything could change and just ruin it. Let me see when this was submitted. This was June 17th. This was June 17th. And the previous one was May 28th. And I don't know why I didn't do this. It's been a lot. So yeah, those are my two analyses. I think that the feeling of floating, the feeling of falling, those are the two feelings that you feel right before you wake up. And all of this could have manifested as a long period of time, but it could have manifested in the blink of an eye, right? When there was like a loud crack or something Or maybe just like, if you ever have the feeling of like, at any moment, you think, oh wait, am I late for something? Oh wait, am I supposed to do? Oh no, is someone gonna try to tell me I did something wrong? If you have an anxiety that makes you jumpy, that could be leading to manifesting this same feeling where you're comfortable, everything's fine, then all of a sudden, for no reason at all, your brain is like, hey, you probably messed something up, didn't you? Just like that one time, whatever that is. And then you're like, it could be everything. Get Wavy says, sounds like they got ghost in their blood. Okay. I don't think it's a ghost in the blood, but I appreciate your thinking outside the box. That's 2 out of 2 dreams today. They have suggested that, but it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, that's my analysis. Alright, I was at my school in the dream, and it went alright in the beginning. Then all of a sudden music starts to build up, and all of a sudden the school hill, everyone is dancing. Like it's the High School Musical movie. We dance and dance, and like they did in the movie. Then I ended up being picked up by my dad, went in the back seat for some reason, and all of a sudden a figure grabs me by the neck and drags me into the trunk, and I see his face, and I wake up. I end up not knowing what his face looked like. It was fun. Then ended up being scary because I woke up straight after, and that was from Snappy. Way back in June 26th, so I'm sorry for taking so long to get into it, but we're sort of doing we're catching up on the old dream analysis submissions. So this is really interesting. Having a dream that you're back in school. Having a dream that you're in an institution or at some sort of place that you've been at before for like a long time. You have a lot of memories. Like for me, it's the Navy, typically on board a ship. And it freaking sucks. Whatever stress I'm experiencing in my life somehow gets manifested as something happening on the ship. Now, if you've recently gone to school or college, or you had some job for a long time just prior, then you may be dreaming about school. So, from what I know about Snappy, I couldn't tell you, but if I recall correctly, Snappy is younger than I am, and they are closer. School is closer in their recent past than it is for me, but I digress. Dreaming about school. Whatever you're going through whenever you have this dream, you were going through a similar experience when you were in school, maybe. It also could be that you've watched the High School Musical. I mean, it's a fun movie, or play movie, doesn't matter. Yeah, typically if you've watched something recently, particularly in the day prior to sleeping, you will typically dream about it. Now, this is something I agree with Carl Jung about when it comes to dream analysis. He's like, look, most of the time, what you just experienced is going to manifest in a dream. Not like verbatim necessarily, but things will symbolize other things, right? For instance, if you've seen High School Musical, whatever you're gonna, whatever you're thinking about when you're dreaming, when you're sleeping, it'll manifest in some kind of way like this. Like, the dance they do in the movie, maybe that's similar to the dance of life, how we conduct ourselves, just carrying through the world. I'm, like if I'm dancing through life, I'm going to the store, I'm making sure I buy the right groceries, paying my bills on time, and then all of a sudden a random bill pops up that says, hey, you paid for this subscription you forgot to cancel, and so you now owe us, but you didn't have enough in your bank account, and so you're overdrawn, right? So this could be representing something like that, something that surprises you. You're having fun, you're dancing just like they did in the freaking movie, doing the stuff. You're being picked up by your dad, someone you're supposed to trust, right? Maybe your dad is representing himself, or maybe he's representing another person in your life that you're supposed to trust. You in the backseat for some reason, all of a sudden a figure grabs me by the neck and drags me into the trunk. So you're sitting in the backseat, grabs you by your neck, pulls you through the backseat and into the trunk. Your character in the dream sees his face, but you don't really know what his face looked like. This might symbolize something, but I really don't think it does. I think it's just that typically when you see faces in dreams, you, the viewer of the dream, you don't see it. You, the character in the dream, see it. But for some reason, everyone's face are usually blurry or not really specifically outlined, right? But anyway, I think this is a straight, in a situation where you're supposed to be having fun and you're comfortable, you're with someone you trust, something or someone else, not the person you trust, not the people you're having fun with, but something pops out of nowhere and all of a sudden you're in trouble. It could be a bill that you didn't pay. It could be a friend that comes hey, what the heck, dude? I can't believe that you freaking did whatever social thing. I don't really know. I don't have a heck of a lot of friends, but I usually don't have these problems. But you get it, some sort of social interaction where it's hey, dude, I can't believe that you said that online about me. I thought we were cool. I can't believe, or something that takes you by surprise and is dude, what? And you as the character see who they are. But who they are in the dream isn't as important as reminding you that you'll know what you did wrong, or at least you'll know that you did something wrong, and it was sudden, and boy, it sure does mess everything up when life hits you in the face and then pulls you into the trunk. So just dance through life with your dad to pick you up. The end. Close enough. Alright. Last night, which was on the 26th of June, I had a strange dream where I was in some sci-fi high-class train. Okay? Alright. But instead of seats, there were separate rooms and stuff, similar to how an RV is laid out. Got it. But on a train. I'm tracking. There's a lot of trains that are low-key, kind of like that. All I remember is the train being stopped due to powerful missile warfare in our area. So everyone had to bunker down on the train. I didn't know anybody there. I remember feeling the vibration and the heat of some of the blasts. During this time, I texted a farewell to my loved ones. Later to find a sonar radar and learn that we're located in learned to know that we were located in, getting barraged with missiles. I assumed that they died. Of course, this was super upsetting, and the last thing I remember is soldiers and some enemy force making sure there were no survivors armed to kill if they found anyone alive. Sorry it's such a dark theme, but if it feels appropriate, I try to keep it as such. I love some of your thoughts. Thank you from Crimson. Yeah, dude, okay, so we do dark content here. A lot of dreams are about death, or they have death as a theme. But would it surprise you if I told you that death in a dream doesn't always mean that someone dies? Typically, death in a dream means the end of something. That is, if it is symbolizing something, right? And in this case, I think it could symbolize that. Or it could be, it could just symbolize, I mean, really depending on how you felt about it. If you were like, oh my god, this is terrible that these people have like died, then, okay, maybe death means death. Death means, in this case, like the worst thing ever, the worst possible outcome, right? But here's something that I really found interesting. Typically when there's chaos in dreams, chaos can manifest as, oftentimes it'll manifest as a tornado or some sort of disaster, like a meteor crashing into whatever. Sometimes it's a flood, sometimes it's like missiles, some sort of warfare going on. Each one, from my experience in my time analyzing dreams, I've noticed is that whenever there's like war, the intent of the war is for someone is fighting someone else. And you are and other people who are not involved in the conflict at all are affected by this. And in this case, not intentional. Like it is, they are intending to do damage, wipe out some people, but not you. You're getting the sort of like aftermath, right? Sort of the collateral damage, right? But it still sucks. And you can even feel the heat. That's how palpable this is. Oh my goodness. So, are you experiencing some sort of stress? Are you experiencing some sort of stress in your life that feels like people in your life are fighting? Maybe it's your parents are fighting. And you're catching a lot of the collateral damage. That freaking sucks. Or maybe you've seen something on the news. Maybe you've seen what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. And you're like, boy, that is so unfair. Right? They're targeting people. They want to kill all of them, yada yada. Imagine how many people that they weren't targeting got killed anyway. What if something like that is happening in my life? So there's this similitude, right? Something that you remember seeing in either a war movie, video game, or just the news. Now, your life shows something similar there. Oh, look, we have a new dream analysis submission. Thank you guys for submitting that. So yeah, I think that's what's going on. But you said, we'll talk about the sci-fi high-class train. Trains are interesting in dreams. Trains are going at a speed that you really can't control. Somebody that is in your going to the same destination as you are is controlling it. But neither you nor they can really control where it goes. And most of the time, not even really how fast it goes. It's just that it's going. And it is going at a predetermined, like, you kind of know, or somebody knows, when it's going to get there. Now, this could symbolize time, right? Like, I am traveling. Like, if you perceive the world and time as you traveling through time, and that could be like, okay, by the time we get to that destination, something is going to happen. Or I'm going somewhere in my path through life, and I'm on a train. I'm on these rails, and I can't really deter from it. It's predetermined. So you may have a feeling of like a predetermined, like predestination, fate, right? Or it could just be your dream needed an environment to portray the thing it wants to express, right? Anyway, but the train is stopped due to a powerful missile warfare, right? So you and everybody else in your, like, that's going the same way, so everyone associated with you. So it could be everybody in your household, it could be everybody in your state, it could be your history class, right? Something. They're all affected by the same thing. Finding a radar is where, like, if you receive a piece of information that is pertinent to what the heck is going on, and you shouldn't normally know it, but you are now privy to it. For instance, we'll use the example of the parents fighting. So you and all your siblings are all on the same train, so to speak. Parents are fighting, and you get a piece of information that says, Mom just acquired a big piece of, a big asset, like some stocks, and she's using it as leverage to change who takes the kids, I don't know, or maybe one of them found dirt on the other one, and now that you happen to know this because you overheard a conversation, now you know kind of how brutal the battle is going to go. A battle that you're not involved in directly, but you're affected by it. Could be that. But the whole point is that someone is intending, the soldiers, the missiles, this is intentional, someone harming someone, but it's not your fault. That's the key here. It's not your fault. I mean, probably. And I say probably because I don't know what's going on in your life. But I'm pretty sure that if you have a dream about these kind of things, pretty sure that it's due to a reason that's not your fault. So that's my take on it. Thank you for submitting it. And I hope things work out. I hope the war, so to speak, has ended for you. So this is from Elena Phenomena. They say, hi, I had an idea. This is a dream, but tell you what, let me read. The idea of setting up an account wasn't a dream, but I haven't dreamed about her in years. She lives in, okay, let me go back. Had an idea I want to try to set up a custodial account for my ex-partner's kiddo who was 13, but 7 last I saw her. Okay. Then I had a dream where I saw her. She came out of her house with a friend of hers, and we were just talking and hanging out. And it wasn't 7-year-old her, it was 13-year-old her. I was like an extra parent from when she was 4, but I don't think she'd remember me now. In the dream, in the beginning of the dream, I went in her house as if I still lived there. and then felt weird and went back out again. And she came out seemingly not knowing I'd been inside. That is awkward, isn't it? I was thinking about whether that meant it would be too intrusive to ask her family if I could set up an account for her education. I see. It could be. Oh, I love that you're still here, Elena, in the chat. Thank you, yeah. So, I probably don't have to tell you this. There is a theme of whether or not you belong, right? Do I belong here? Do they think I belong here? Should I be allowed to even ask if I can do X, Y, or Z thing? Should I ask? Should I even... Do they think I should ask? Like, is it my... is it within my scope to be able to even bring it up? Or would that be imposing, or would I be out of line? Going into a house, in this sense, I think the house represents someone's life. And in this case, I believe it's her life. The life with her family, her family's life, that whole domain, right? You went in. You had no ill intentions. You weren't a freaking trespasser. You weren't trying to do something you weren't supposed to do. But you went in with a good intention. And they didn't chase you out or told you to get out. You just were like, wait, I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave. Now, perhaps this is the whole thing of wanting to set up a custodial account. The fact that you felt like an extra parent, yeah, I think that must be related. I think if it isn't, it may have to do with whether or not you feel that you belong in their life. First of all, let me get something out of the way. You belong. Like, you belong in this world. And you are, well, from what I know about you, Elena, you come here, you have beautiful, lovely, like a lovely heart. Whether or not someone else recognizes that, that's another issue. But you do have a good heart. I can tell. But yeah. Clarification from Elena. Yeah, I used to be a spare parent, but maybe it's not my place. Elena says, I used to belong. It was me that chased me out. Yeah, I mean, you sort of like decided upon yourself. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even ask. You want to help. I don't have any advice to give you regarding this. Other than listen to your feelings, not necessarily follow wherever your feelings tell you to do in any whim of any moment, but just listen to yourself. And I think you're doing that. You're doing that right now by sharing this publicly with the community, right? And if anyone else has any thoughts, type it in the chat, or if you're watching this on YouTube, put it in the comments. What kind of thoughts do you have on this? Nobody, or I feel like mostly nobody, wants to be intrusive. Nobody wants to be a bother. You know? You know what your intentions are. You don't necessarily know what someone else's intentions are. And you also don't actually know whether or not they perceive your intentions as being correct. Right? Even if, I don't know, even if they should know, right? But that's not up to you. If they understand it or if they don't, doesn't matter. I would say if you want to communicate with your friends, communicate. Let them know, hey, this is how I feel, this is my intention. And just say, look, share your trepidations, share your hesitations of like, look, I don't know if it's my place to say or do this, but dude, I want to help, like, I love you guys, like, do you guys know? And so, anyway, it's wonderful to get a little feedback. I still have professional connections with her family, even if I'm not a family member anymore. Well, yeah, just let them know. Say, look, we should talk again, or, what are y'all doing? At least bring it up and communicate that with them. And even if it's not something that would be useful to them or to you or whatever, at least you've communicated it. You've opened up to them. I don't know, but very interesting that you're exploring these, and really interesting that you bring this up. The whole theme of having a house, someone's house, oftentimes represents someone's life. Like if you have a dream where you're in your house, sometimes that represents your life, or you're like, okay, in this scene of the dream, we need a much larger area because we got a lot of stuff going on. That larger structure could also be a symbolism for your life. And other times it's not trying to symbolize that. It's just trying to be like, all right, we need somewhere for this story to take place, and your dream tells the story. So, but in this case, yeah, it's alive. But yeah. Okay, one more addition. We usually exchange some photos at Christmas, but logically I should talk to them before then. Yeah, sure. At least reach out, tell them how you're feeling. That's the big one for me. That's how I feel. But yeah, thank you for submitting that. And if anyone else has if you have any dreams, if you experienced any dreams like these, what do you think they meant? Let me know. And as always,